Alrighty guys, I just want to share my fuel farming build. I've been using this for, I don't know, maybe a week and a half, maybe almost 2 weeks, and I've really been enjoying it. I would say, first things first, you could use the Nox cabin instead of the Catalina cabin if you wanted to. This is at 12k power score, so I don't know if it was because of the new battle for uranium or what it is, or I feel like ever since the last patch, the power score brackets have been better for me. Like in the past, if I used the build, 12k, I would be easily fighting 17, 19Ks every game, basically, so I might as well not even be playing at 12k, but I've been fighting 9Ks, 10Ks, 11, 12, 13, 14, I would say, probably is like the highest. Once in a blue moon, this goes up against like 17Ks, but it still holds its own, even at 17, 18, 19, doesn't matter. Like, everybody gets hit by Jupiters and regrets not moving out of the way. The Jupiters just tear through everything, so I've really been enjoying them because I needed some kind of a build to farm fuel. And I mean, sure, you can use like a 5k, whatever. It is fun. I do have a couple of builds down lower power score brackets, but I want to be able to use a hover, and I want to be able to use Jupiters and whatever. So this is what I've come up with. It is my build. I built it. This was actually the first build that I really tried to make use out of the buffer frames. So like, I don't know if you go look at like the avalanche hover video that I made, for example, I referenced the buffer frames in the front. This is what I was talking about. So like, if I was to take this stuff off, just the way that the frames work, it's got a layer of frames. I've been liking doing heavies in the middle. I know, maybe it's not meta, maybe it's not optimal, whatever. This is just what I've been using. It's been working really, really well. This is surprisingly very tanky, and because it's only using 4 hovers, which they're not even 7s, they're 4 hovers, so red hovers, not even blue hovers, is really agile, really tanky, because they're the tankier ones. And I got them fused for acceleration efficiency and resistance to all damage. I do also have the flock for, I don't know, everyone's using trombones or whatever, nests and stuff lately. I'm running into a lot of that. And then the Doppler. So the reason why I highly recommend using the Doppler on a build like this, and this build is really, really good at farming fuel. I only have the blue fuel tank on, so granted I could be getting 15 fuel per run instead of just 10, but the white one is just so squishy, I just don't want to risk it. So I'll just play it safe and take the 10. But because the Doppler will show enemy positions without line of sight of them, it allows you to shoot, over terrain, for example. So I'll show you an example, which I'm sure you probably know, but just for the sake of it, if an enemy is behind cover, so let's say I'm on the other side of this terrain here, and I know somebody is back there, right? I can see them because of the Doppler. I don't have line of sight on them. I can just shoot over here and then clip them over the top and the Doppler allows me to do that, and the Jupiters are just so good at doing it. Where someone is just like, you get those obnoxious Scorp players or Sharon players or whatever that just only peek, take their shot, dip back in, peek, take their shot, dip back in, and the Jupiters are just so good at punishing that play style, and there's no drop off, you know, like it's like shooting quasars or pulsars or whatever, that, you know, you just, wherever you aim, you take your shot and then you move out of the way, go somewhere else, whatever, and that thing will just tear people up, man. This thing just, I don't know, it's so satisfying to pop hovers and to pop, like, everybody takes a lot of damage from Jupiters. They're just, I don't know, I've really been enjoying them. I'm so glad I chose them instead of the Sharons for the upgraded. I ended up selling the other Sharon. I bought one just so I'd have two of them just to test it out, but I really like the Jupiters way more. Not like these are new weapons or anything, but I'm going to show you guys a few matches. I didn't really record any commentary or anything. I just recorded the matches because I don't know, I was just farming fuel, so I figured I might as well record it since I wanted to share the build anyways. I'll probably put it up on the exhibition, but I mean, you understand the idea. I did build this with the tier list as well, so if you haven't seen the tier lists that I uploaded, I have two tier lists, one for durability to power score and then durability to mass. So I tried to, you know, use the spreadsheet, use the tier list to my advantage, so that way this thing would be able to take a hit, which it does. This thing is really tanky. It can lose basically everything. As long as it has like at least one hover, and mind you, it only has 4 hovers. It's only a 4 hover build, but that makes it really agile, especially with the Catalina. So my thought was, if I'm agile and I can avoid damage, then it's kind of damage resistance, you know what I mean? Like, I could be slower and tankier, but I would just be taking more damage because I'm slower. So I went with the agile approach, and it has been working a lot more for me. These stilts, I don't know, I guess they must just be in a really good place or something, because very rarely do they get taken off, and this thing will just survive. And even if you lose one Jupiter, like even just one Jupiter alone still does good damage. And I pop people all the time with one Jupiter. They think that they handicapped you and they take one Jupiter off, and then they just move on to the next target because they don't really deem you that much of a threat anymore, which happens a lot. One Jupiter still does a lot of work, but I noticed that you just sit back, you let the Doppler, you know, work in tandem with your Doppler and shoot over terrain. And another really big tip I would have is this: the Jupiters tear through bots, like completely tear through bots, because they don't even move, you know what I mean? I would say that from my experience, if like, let's say that bus or whatever it is a bot, there's usually going to be 2 or 3, sometimes 4 bots in a little mosh pit there. I've noticed that the damage is so much higher if, instead of aiming for the bot itself, I aim over it, and it like rewards you for missing, you know what I mean? Like, you just take a shot in a general direction, and then without even trying to aim, you just aim over and it'll hit all 4 bots, no problem, just tear through them all. I get MVP like crazy on this build all the time, because if I get an opportunity to just mosh pit down, you know, 2 or 3 bots in the beginning, it does so much work. But I'll show you a few matches. I didn't record any commentary. I might add some, I don't know, probably not, but whatever. You'll see the general play style of the build. So just sharing what I've been using to farm fuel.